This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with vocalist Matt Barlow of the heavy metal act Ashes of ARES. If I knew absolutely nothing about Ashes of ARES, how would you describe the band's music to me?
I would say we're a metal band, man. I mean, we got influences from, all kinds of stuff from, power metal, death metal, thrash metal. It's just kind of a combination. Obviously, with my history with Iced Earth, that, I've got kind of a established sound, I guess you would say, as far as delivering stuff vocally. And Freddie's my writing partner, and he's got a lot of influences outside of the standard metal stuff. He's definitely got some death metal background in there. And I came from like a more of a Bay Area thrash kind of thing prior to Iced Earth, even, when I was playing with my brother in a band, and we had kind of that kind of Bay Area sound. So I mean, I think there's a little bit of all the things that we love and all the things that really kind of inspired us as we were coming up in music, and that's kind of what we deliver. It's kind of a tribute to all those guys and gals. So
Now, you and Freddie had formed this project sometime around 2012. You were both in Iced Earth. Did it just kind of happen that way, that you put this thing together on the side and it became a thing?
No, actually, it sort of started afterward. So I'd gone back to Iced Earth in 2008, and from 2008 to 2011, Freddie and I were in the band together. He got hired on as a bass player when I came back, so we hit it off, right out of the gate, man. We just see eye to eye on so many things, and Freddie's a funny dude, and we like our comedy, and we have our laughs, and so it just really clicked really well. And then when I departed Iced Earth, I had I couldn't the band couldn't go on with the schedule that it was. The band needed to tour more, and I couldn't sacrifice my career to tour more. Obviously, I had a little more stable situation going on at home. So I bowed out in 2011, and then Freddie went on to tour to do the next record with them, and to tour with them. And then after that, he bowed out, because he's got a full-time career as well. So pretty much after that, we had talked about doing some stuff together when we were in the band, but just never came up. Time is wasn't even an option at that point. So when he got out of the band, he's like, "Hey, you want to try doing some stuff?" And so yeah. And so that's basically how it happened, man. And we live on opposite sides of the country, so our writing, the way that we write, is pretty much sharing files back and forth, and just explaining kind of where we are. And we do a lot of phone, text, email, and all that good stuff, just to kind of, as these songs are developing. And that's pretty much the way we've done it. We've only, like, one song, I think, that we started together in person, kind of when we got the idea together, and that was "This Is My Hell." That was the beginning of that song. But everything else has pretty much been via internet, sharing files, creating the music that way. And I know it's probably old hat to a lot of people at this day and age, but when I was coming up, it was you get the band together, and everybody gets together in a room, and a couple of the guys are drunk, and they end up getting fired, and so you can find somebody who's a little bit more interested in the music. And then, but this is a good thing because I've been through all that. I was all through all that, so this is a really good thing for me personally, because I can do pretty much all the recording. We only did one record where I didn't do vocals in my home studio, and that was the first record, and I worked out vocals with Jim Morris. But everything else since then has been me recording vocals in my home studio, and then taking those to the studio to do a mix and master and all that good stuff. Because I am old school, I don't have all of the knowledge of the the technology to be able to do that really well in my home. I know some people are really good at that stuff, but that ain't me because I'm an old guy.
Well, Ashes of Ares just released their fourth studio album. It's entitled New Messiahs. It came out August 8th here in the United States and a little earlier in Europe through RPM Roar. Was there a specific reason it was released earlier in Europe besides the fact that they enjoy heavy metal a little more than the US?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I don't have an answer for you, man. It's just the way that they said, "Hey, this is how we're rolling it out," and I'm like, "Okay, well." I mean, I know it's going to roll out, and then it's going to be, the record's going to be on YouTube, and so everybody's going to get a preview of it. The unfortunate thing for me is that I feel that those previews, yes, and we do the videos and all that other good stuff, but the ultimately the sound quality is not as good as you're going to get from the real thing. And to me, I still love physical copy. It just sounds better to me, and maybe it's me. I don't know, but even CDs I think sound better than digital stuff that's going over the interweb. But the vinyl stuff is awesome as well. Because you get that really cool analog sound that you're creating with that mechanical connection there. But even like I said, the CDs. I mean, I'm not like I'm not like a vinyl snob or anything like that. I mean, I'm a CD guy, but I just think physical copy is so much better, and it would be great if if everybody did get the release at the same day and it went out. But I don't know how that works, man. That's above my pay grade.
Well, I think the physical copy of media is still something for older guys like me and you. I'm a vinyl collector because they didn't put a CD player in my car that I recently bought. So I had to go
Right.
something else because coming home and listening to a CD, it's too much work.
Yeah. I got you. No, vinyl's cool, man. Vinyl's great.
Absolutely. So let's talk about a couple of songs that you did release as videos or singles, as we used to call them.
Right.
Tell me a little bit what inspired Wake of Vultures.
So, Wake of Vultures is actually what inspired it was I was at a animal sanctuary in Florida, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but we were driving along in this thing, and they had a bunch of vultures out there, and the driver was describing, and they were like, "Does anybody know what a group of vultures is called?" And a wake of vultures. I'm like, "Hey, there's a song title right there, and then I'll work on the rest." So I thought it was really cool idea, cool concept. I'm like, well, I can kind of work this into a concept, and the concept is, it's amazing how sometimes those that are held on high and take the fall in one way or another are attacked so viciously by those who they once flew with. I think that's you can see that in throughout life and throughout different things. People love a comeback story, but sometimes people really love to see people fall too, and really kick them when they're on the ground. So that's basically what Wake of Vultures is about. Misery loves company, and so on and so forth.
Another single slash video that you have out is for Keep On Walking. What inspired that song?
Well, it's kind of a love letter to my kids, my boys, and it just it's really the kind of the epitome of the reason that I stopped touring full time and doing that kind of stuff, and got into a career in law enforcement because I wanted to have a family, and I didn't want to be that absentee dad. So it's, to me, it's the payoff at the, my boys are now 19 and 17. They're almost both adults now, or well, one's an adult, one's almost an adult. So I was just kind of looking back at that and really appreciating, the time that I've had with them. And it's just sort of a story of, it was inspired by one day we were walking on a trail, and which we like to do. And, I was thinking of the walk as a measure of time, and a lifetime, and then their lifetime after that, after they keep on walking after I'm gone. So that's what it's about.
I was going to ask you later if you were still working in law enforcement. I read that on your Wikipedia page. I've been in law enforcement for 27 years myself here in
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Awesome. 22 years. So trying to get to 25. We'll see how it goes.
I got to get to age 55 and I'm only 49.
Well, brother, I'm 55 now. Thankfully, we don't have a cutoff, but yeah, I know some agencies do. I know our state police has the 55 cutoff. So yeah, that'd be great. I mean, if you get to that, you should be golden, man, right? I mean, you got enough time to start another career.
Yeah, that's the intention. I'm
if
out
you
no matter
choose.
what. I'm out, Matt, no matter what. I don't care. 55 gone.
Yeah. Well, I said the same thing. I was like 53, I'm gone because that would put me at 20. But then I'm not like, yeah, we've got a lot of good things going on at my agency, so I'd like to, see certain things through, and we got a lot of, young folks that's hopefully can use my guidance and my knowledge.
I think we could do like a whole 2-hour interview on police work, but we should get back to music.
Yes.
You guys covered an Elton John song, and The House Fell Down, kind of a rare cut from Elton John. How did this make it to the album?
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing, because Freddie actually was the one that wanted to do a tribute to Sir Elton, and of course, 100% on board with that. He's an amazing talent, and the struggle was trying to find the right track, because he's got so many freaking hits, and trying to relate it to what we're doing and try to do a song that we can kind of make our own as well, and kind of interpret it in our own way. And so we were kicking around ideas, and we were kind of struggling with it, and my wife said, well, as a matter of fact, I have this song on my playlist and I love it, and it was different, and it was something that I wasn't even aware of. It was off my radar, but I like the message. She said it's about, addiction and things like that, and overcoming those things, and those demons that you have. And I'm like, okay, well, you sold me on that, because I like that theme. Again, being in law enforcement, I'm sure we've both seen our share of that kind of stuff, and hopefully, we want that outcome for people to, overcome their demons. And so I was on board with that. We floated it to Freddie, and he was like, 100%, I'm on it. And he started working on the music and putting it together. I think he did an amazing job of really translating a song that was really, piano heavy, obviously for Sir Elton, and making it a guitar heavy song. In the meantime, when he was giving me samples, I'm like, yeah, I'm liking this direction. I really dig where it's going. And it's got this kind of a ragtime feel, right? This kind of ragtime beat, and I was sort of inspired by a movie that my wife really loves this movie. It's a Disney movie of all things, but it's called The Princess and the Frog. And there's a character in there who is a witch doctor, and he's got this like really kind of cool, number in there. And for whatever reason, the song really reminded me of that. And I was like, if I could kind of latch onto that witch doctor kind of vibe and get low and little Tom Waits kind of a thing, then I wanted to do that. So that's what I did. So I kind of got the stuff raspy enough, and just kind of gave it a different feel, because I wanted it to be Ashes of Ares, but its own creation as well, and pay tribute to Sir Elton in the best way we could. Make it a little darker, but also have that upbeat chorus, and played around with some different things with the chorus to make it not as poppy as the original. And I think we got it. I mean, I feel really strongly about it, and I think it's a really cool tune.
Absolutely. You got QUEENSRYCHE vocalist Todd Torre, Todd Torre. I always get
Torre. Yeah.
And his guitarist Craig Blackwell on the album. How'd that come about?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny, because we were friends with Todd, and I was talking to Todd about some stuff, and he was really excited about this piece that he did where he was drumming. So a lot of people don't know that about Todd, is that's how he got into the metal business, was as a drummer, and because everybody knows him famously now for singing for QUEENSRYCHE. So I was like, hey man, you want to do some drums on our stuff? So we've got this cover song, and so he's the one that's drumming in The House Fell Down. So that's so it's fun, man. It was a really good time. And then Blackwell actually helped produce the drums on that because they did it in his studio. And then we asked him to do some lead work as well because he's a freaking amazing guitar player. I hope you've heard some of Todd's solo stuff. So he's really amazing. So we were honored to have him on there, and as well as our touring guitarist Charlie Honig contributed to some lead work as well. So yeah, it's cool. It's fun having our friends guest. You know what I mean? It's just we have a good time with it.
Todd LaTorre's last solo album was fantastic. I actually had the opportunity to interview him about it. It's a fantastic album.
Yeah, it's killer, man. It's it's the cool thing. It's different. It's completely different than you can hear. I mean, it's obviously Todd's voice, but the direction's completely different than QUEENSRYCHE, and that's cool too because he gets to stretch his legs a little bit, doing something different.
Equally important with music and heavy metal is an eye-catching album cover. You certainly have one with your latest album. Artwork is by Kamil.
Yeah, so you try to pronounce it.
Pietruczynik.
Yeah. I always have trouble with it, and I tease Kamil about it, but Kamil doesn't speak English very well. Maybe speaks it a little bit better than I do, but we have a good time with our exchanges in writing. It's fun. He writes better than in English than he speaks, but yeah, he's an amazing talent, man. And I've been a fan of his for a long time. He started doing some artwork for Iced Earth back in the day, and then he did some other things like some fan art for Pyramids and all this other stuff. So he's been sort of following me, and I've been looking at what he does, and I really like his style because it's very dark. It really reminded me, and I told him, this years ago, and I said, the reason I like your stuff, man, because it really reminds me of like a Frank Frazetta or Simon Bisley. It starts really dark, and then you add the light coming forward, and I love that feeling that he's got. It's a lot of shadow, and it just lets the imagination kind of fill in the blanks, and that's kind of what I like about it. So yeah, he's worked with us for the last 3 records. The first 2, he did a little bit more artwork. He's been very busy, so this one he was only able to commit to, the cover, the back of the record, and some things in there, some couple other little illustrations, but he does a fantastic job, and he gets what we're asking of him. So it works out really well. We can say a few words, and he kind of can see what we're going after, and that's a very cool thing in an artist. It's a good partnership.
Ashes of Ares is going to be heading out on a European tour, September 28th through October 11th. Am I correct that you're going to be playing the Dark Saga album Saga by Iced Earth on this tour?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We've gotten the blessing from the Iced Earth creator John Schaefer to be able to do that. That was really important for us to get his blessing on it. We didn't necessarily have to, but it's a matter of respect. And that's what we're doing. We're really just paying tribute to the record that's going to be 30 years old next year. So I can't believe it's been that freaking long. I can't believe I'm that old, but here we are, right? So what better way to do it? And I think we've had a lot of really positive feedback from folks. The fans seem to be really, really pumped about it. So I think we'll really have a good time and enjoy that together. Performing that for them.
Who's in the live version of the band?
Well, it's Freddie and I and Charlie, and we'll make an announcement with our other their European fellows and some friends of ours. So we'll make that announcement here in a little bit, but we kind of want to leave it mysterious at this point.
Greece seems to be an important place for Ashes of Ares. Is there a particular reason you seem to play there a lot?
Well, I think that when I was in Iced Earth, the first time we played there, it was like nothing, like nowhere that I had ever played before. They treated us like the freaking Beatles. It was amazing. Just the fan connection that we had with Iced Earth, and I think that's carried over for me in Ashes of Ares. And we just have a really nice fan base there. Our label is actually a Greek label, and so well, it's a combined Greek and German label, a European label, but um, yeah, Rock of Angels Records was our first label, and now it's a subsidiary of Reigning Phoenix. But it's just a good vibe, man, and we just have a really good connection with our label and with the fans there. Our agent is Greek as well, so it lends itself. He knows a lot of that area, and it just lends itself to us being able to play there a little bit more. And we're with this next tour, we're branching out a little bit more. We are doing a festival in Germany. It's a one-off. We agreed to just do the one show there. Obviously to help the festival and all that. And but we're doing some other countries as well, throughout. A little bit farther west than Greece. So that'll be cool, and hopefully we'll just keep building that, and we can branch out more and continue to see other parts of Europe as well, and the U.S. and maybe South America, and we're working on all that. But how schedules are, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when you're a cop with 22 years on. It's a little bit harder to get away, as far as the schedule is concerned. So.
Indeed. Let's go back to the Dark Saga album a little bit. This was your second album with Iced Earth. Obviously, the 30th anniversary is upon us. What do you remember about writing and recording that album?
Well, I remember it was a much cheerier time writing that one than when I came in. Burn Offerings, John was still writing that one, and there was like a lot of turmoil with the record label and all that, which probably translated into some of the darker tones in that record and Burn Offerings, which a lot of people like, and I get it, because I think it's its own entity, in a lot of respects. But once we were done, the John had signed a new deal with the record label. Things were looking up. We got back from a brief tour in support of Burn Offerings, and we just started like writing right away. Like John just jumped right into it, and it just seemed like it went really quick, because he was already into the character, into Spawn and just that storyline, and was just really psyched about starting that and getting into that. And he did. If anybody that knows John knows that if he's into something, man, he's like full force into it, and that's who he is. So it seemed like the writing went very quickly, and it was just fun. We had a good time. We got a new producer in Jim Morris, as opposed to Tom Morris, who was doing other things with other bands, and so Jim stepped in and just was a big part of the creative process, and just just made everything great. In the studio, it was a blast, and we had a really good time with it, and we just knew something. We just knew there was something special about it. It sounded different than other Iced Earth stuff, and we were right, because when the record came out, and it was only out for a short time, and we started touring on it, and the crowds were just singing the songs, and it was just like a whole different thing. So it was just cool.
Who did you tour with in support of that album?
We started touring with Nevermore. That was the first tour that we toured with Nevermore, and that was pretty cool. So that was our also another good part about that, was our introduction to to Worrell and the guys, and of course Van Williams, who was still a very good friend, and Jeff Loomis, of course, and we're very looking forward to hearing the new Nevermore. Really excited about that. So
yeah. Do you see a future for Iced Earth at this juncture?
I don't know, man. I mean, that's going to be up to John. I certainly hope that he does. Because I think he's just got he's a just a great talent. And I think that, and I hope that, we live in a world where, redemption is possible, and all that, and positivity, wins out. That's certainly, as you know, in our career, we always root for that, right?
Right.
We always root for the positive outcome.
Absolutely. The big news in the metal industry currently is the passing of Ozzy Osbourne. Did you have a chance to cross paths with Ozzy?
I didn't have a chance to cross paths with him. We did do some shows back in the day, some festivals. Whenever Black Sabbath, it was back in. And I'm trying to think of when it was, when they were doing big festivals. I want to say it was like 99 or 2000, maybe. Maybe that's what. Maybe is that when they did when they did Vakken and all that. I don't know. There was like a whole summer of festivals that we were doing, and I think maybe it was 2000. Um, and I think that they played at a bunch of those. Like, and I'd have to, man. Ages getting up with me. I'm just trying to think of when that was, but it was really cool because it was like the original lineup was all together and doing that. So it was a while ago. But yeah, I never had a chance to sit down and chat with him. But again, it's just very, very sad. Another member of the elite metal forefathers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Passes away. I did have a chance, to meet and speak with Ronnie James many years ago. Again, before he passed, but another terrible loss for our music, and I think for humanity, really, because I think that they both brought a lot of joy to people, and that's really sad when people that can bring so much joy pass away. So
Are you working now that you have that home studio to do your vocals? Are you working with any other bands or on any other projects?
so it just friends here and there. I got something coming out, but I can't really say at this point. Just a guest spot. So nothing big, but I don't want to make an announcement here because that wouldn't be cool, man. Um, yeah, I do have fun doing that, but I've got so much going on with writing, with Ashes, and with work, that it's really tough to, and family. It's that balance, right? So, um, yeah. So now I'm out in my studio rehearsing for this tour, and getting myself up to live performance shape, and that's always a sacrifice as well, because if I'm out there, then I'm not having family time, and or if I'm out there, I'm not working overtime, and so all those sacrifices, right?
Right. Do you get recognized by metalheads on the job?
Some people know me, but I've got a nice group of friends that are in law enforcement, and the legal field. Some lawyer friends and things like that. We just had a record listening party last month, and at the Birmingham Meadery here in Delaware, in Milton, and our friends there. That was very cool of them to host us, and a lot of my friends, colleagues, and things like that came out, and I was actually surprised to see some of them, and I was like really happy, that they came out to support. So it was cool.
I used to be in a cover band locally in the jurisdiction that I worked in, and kind of the same thing. Friends in the field, they come out and see you, but also just the general public. And I think doing something like that kind of humanizes police officers.
Yeah, I mean, I know it does seem strange for us because we are just humans, right? We're just regular people that put on a uniform and go out and do a job that a lot of people don't like to do, um, or wouldn't even consider doing. But at the end of the day, man, we're just people, man. It's just it is a uniform, and I understand that the connotation that folks get with it. Whenever you're, just angry at the man, it's doesn't matter, doesn't matter what uniform it is. But it's, it is what it is, man. I do think that you're right. I think it's a good example of, hey, getting out there, but also the other good example for us, at least in our agency, is just getting out there and doing community policing and just talking to people like on a regular and just being part of the community and experiencing that. And I know it's different in different jurisdictions and different every police force has its own unique characteristics, and community has its own unique characteristics, and sometimes it's harder to do. But I know that that's where most agencies are going in a more community oriented capacity. But it's also hard to get out there and do that community interaction whenever you're slammed with 900 complaints, and got all this stuff going on, and it's just it's all the bad stuff. So it is tough, but it's also nice. It is nice to get out there and communicate with folks and just let them know, hey, I get it. I get your frustrations with certain things and all that, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to do the best we can, and short staffed and everything else, and I'm sure every agency is probably dealing with that as well. It's looking a little better now, but short staffing is tough, and the crime doesn't stop. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Ashes of Ares album, New Messiahs, is out now through RPM Roar. Fantastic album. I wish you the best of luck with it. And I want to thank you for taking the time tonight to tell me more about it.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.